I'm Peyton, and this is my sister Claire, and we're going to be doing a student lesson on the dystopian literature. Can you say that? Dystopian.
Dystopian?
Yeah, dystopian. Okay, so like, have you ever heard of it?
Nope.
Do you know like science fiction?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that, but dystopian literature. It's like fiction, and it's in a dark like nightmare world, and it's like all really bad, and it has a bunch of poverty and like just a lot of bad stuff. So it's like basically, in other words, it's just like fictional writing that's in a grim and somehow horrible future with like sadness and oppression, things like that. Okay, so some little history lesson on dystopian literature. So it's back to the 18th century, 1700. And then like the first one is called Gulliver's Travels. Have you ever heard of that? I'm sure you probably heard it once or before, but yeah, that was pretty much one of the first dystopian books, and it led to the next popular novel called Erewhon. Try it like, so do you see it right here? Erewhon, it's spelled E-R-E-W-H-O-N. Try saying it backwards. Nowhere.
No.
Yeah, so it's kind of supposed to sound like that backwards. That one starts out like, okay, so utopian is a world that's perfect, and like everything's perfect.
I've heard of utopian.
Yeah, okay, and then dystopian is everything's horrible.
Okay.
So that book starts utopian, and then everything turns bad. So I'm gonna tell you some key characteristics, and then you're gonna do a little activity. It'll be short, I promise. So some of the key characteristics are there's like information changed, or like fake information to mislead the society. Independent thought, freedom, and like information is kept away from everyone. There's one leader, one supreme leader, not like a president, but like one person, like a king that controls everything. Citizens are under constant surveillance, like they're always being watched, which is kind of creepy, right? Everyone has a fear of like the outside world, like nature, and like everything that's natural. The people live in like inhumane, unlike how we normally live. Like people are usually like pretty bland, and everyone's the same. So like individuality, like you being yourself, it's not normal. Natural world isn't trusted or feared, and then the society is a utopia, but it really isn't. And so far, sound pretty cool, right? Or kind of creepy. What do you think?
Creepy.
Creepy, yeah. It's actually pretty good. So the book I read here, I'll give you a little summary of the book I read. So it was called Children of Eden. So the earth was ruined by humans, and a small bit of the society lived in a tiny little world, like a little bubble on the earth called Eden, and they had to wear eye lenses, like contacts, to protect their eyes from going blind. And they weren't allowed to have more than one child because they were in such a small little bubble, and they couldn't make a bunch of food for everyone if people kept having more kids. So, and the main character, Rowan, she was a second child, and they had to keep her in secret in the house, and she was locked away for like her whole life. Pretty creepy. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some time, and I want you to write one little tiny summary of your own dystopian novel, like 2 sentences. It could be anything, like Claire lived in a world where squirrels weren't allowed and dogs were the president and everyone had to sit in a kennel. It could be like that. Okay, so you can look at these little characteristics here and just tell me when you're done. I'm gonna start with 3. Okay, so Claire has written her couple sentences for her own dystopian novel. So I'm gonna read it out loud. She's a little nervous about it. So here we go. Claire lived in a world that was ruled by evil raccoons, and no other animals or plants were allowed. So everything was watched by the evil raccoons. Wow. So do you think, is there anything else about the evil raccoons? Like, no other animals, so it was only humans and there weren't other like animals or plants there? It was all just the evil raccoons? Interesting. So I think that was a pretty good little summary there. That's pretty cute. Okay, so like I'm just gonna, to end the lesson, I'm gonna give you some books that you can read that are for like your age that are dystopian and that you probably like. And it kind of goes from like most recommend to like still be cool, but like, you know. So, first one is The Giver, and I read this one when I was about your age. So it's a book by Lois Lowry about a boy named Jonas who lives in a utopia only to realize that it isn't so perfect. So it's kind of like a weird, like, other world thing. It was pretty cool when I read it, so I really recommend that one, maybe when you finish your other little books. Okay, the next one is Maze Runner series. Have you heard of that?
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, they just came out with a bunch of movies. It's really popular. So the first one, it's all by James Dashner, and it's about a boy who wakes up in an elevator and he doesn't remember anything, not even his own name. And he's taken to a world with other teenage boys who don't remember anything, and they like try to escape like through a maze, and it's supposed to be really good. I haven't read it, but it's supposed to be really good. And the next one is the Hunger Games series. And I know you've heard about this one because I love the Hunger Games series. You might want to wait maybe like another year, but I read it actually when I was about your age in like 4th or 5th. I think 4th grade I read the Hunger Games. So it's a little graphic, just a little bit. But it's a series by Suzanne Collins about a world where there's different districts, like District 1, 2, 3, all the way to 12, and they make different products. And there's like a game that the whole society watches where one person from each district is chosen to play in a game, and they kill each other to try to win, to be the last one standing. And you know Katniss Everdeen? Her sister gets chosen to go, and she volunteers to go for her and play in this game. And there's 3 books, and it's actually really good. It seems crazy, but it's really good and interesting. And yeah, I would recommend it. It's actually really good. It seems pretty creepy. I mean, you look like you're pretty like, wow, they kill each other, but it's really good. So the next one is called Among the Hidden. It's part of the Shadow Children series. I recommend this one to you because it's for a little bit of a younger audience. So it's by Margaret Peterson Haddix, and it's about a society where like drastic measures, like really crazy stuff is like taken to get rid of overpopulation. Like there's too many people in the world, so they have to like cut down on society. So I don't know what they do, but it's a series and it's supposed to be really good. There's a bunch of books. It's for your age group, so you'd probably like that one. And then the last one is called Brave New World, and you might like this one in about a year or 2. So I haven't read it, but it's a book by Aldous Huxley. It's about a world where there have been medical advancements that make eternal health, so you can live forever. But something obviously goes wrong, and it's actually not what people think it is. So those are all those books. Which one do you think you'd be wanting to read? Out of all of them, I'd recommend Among the Hidden, Hunger Games, and The Giver, because I've read 2 of them. Those are really good, and this one is supposed to be good. Among the Hidden is supposed to be really good for kids your age.
I'm kind of leaning towards the Hunger Games
Hunger
one.
Games?
I'm a little scared to read it,
Well,
but
you
it
read
sounds
it. I have the
pretty
books.
interesting.
So this is like almost one of my favorite genres. I hadn't really read too much dystopian, but science fiction and like dystopian is my favorite because everything's like so different and kind of scary, but like really interesting, and you want to keep reading and know what's happening next. So yeah, thank you for being my student, Claire. And I liked your little story about the evil raccoons.